Alright, we're live. There we go. Yeah, something's going on with the Twitch. Welcome everyone to the land of the rising sun. That's right, we are in everyone's favorite track this weekend. It's Suzuka International Racing Course. It is AM2, as you might have got from the title. Round 10 of 24 here in Season 8. I am Kid and Petter, joined not by Andy Wu, who, ironically enough, I believe is working at a Japanese restaurant tonight. So this is his second home track, but he's missing it. And in replace, we have a commentary debut, I believe. A really special moment. You never forget your first. It is P-Dog Peyton, the man who was forced to move up after dominating this very tier. What's going on, Peyton?
What's up, kitten? How are you?
Oh, you know, ready for this. Probably more ready than I will be tomorrow when we're actually having a race. This is obviously one of the more challenging circuits. I'd probably contend that it's the most challenging purpose-built race circuit in the game.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree. I'm probably going to struggle a little bit tomorrow as well.
Yeah, it is. It is a tough one, especially this year now that they have completely murdered a lot of these curbs. We have a handful of not just the typical one, which is the exit of spoon. It is now pretty much all of the S's will kill you. So expect to see a little bit of that today. I believe we're probably going to see a safety car too as well. Oof, whose Bodhide barely gets out of the way.
Yeah.
Of last week's winner. He won from pole, but it wasn't as straightforward as you might think. I really had to battle for it. It is Vamu Nubel, who has inherited the, I guess you can probably say, full-time points lead. Now that you've moved up, he is up 12 points on one Mitch Burns, who has been captain consistency this year. Only 2 podiums, but he is currently in second by a long margin, down to DK and Electric and Fatal in that 4 through 6 pack. So,
yeah, this championship's going to be really tight for these next couple races, I would expect.
Yeah.
Mitch and Vamos seem to be on the same sort of pace. Not sure about the rest of the pack. I think Game Boy is going to be very quick. Fatal is starting to catch back up to his old pace. Motown and Kano had a podium last week. Motown was leading that race as well, so it's just kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, it is a mixed bag, I think, week to week. And when you talk about a place like this, it is a wheel-heavy track. There is a very distinct advantage for the wheel users, and that would put the two championship antagonists at the moment, Vamu at Mitch, against one another. Mitch on a wheel, Vamu on a pad. He's not been very confident going into this week, but I think Mitch really enjoys it, and you might be able to tell there, as he has gone P1 by over 4/10 on Electric Blade, who, shout out to Electric, won the EU3 race this afternoon.
Nice. Yeah, that's a very good time from RJP as well. 29.7 to be up there, considering he's struggled a lot all season. Not sure how well the 7s will stand for long, but about half the grid still has to set times. But yeah, I guess we'll see. As the lead is on an outlap.
Yeah, it is really tricky to look at the track map here since
Yes.
it is a figure 8, so it's kind of hard to figure out where everybody is. Fatal obviously had a little bit of difficulty there. The 132.1, he's currently at the bottom of the grid. Here's Kano, as you referenced just a while ago. A shock podium last week in a crazy race at Spa.
On the mediums, he's going to come across the line. It's a 133.7. That's exactly where it was, 14.
Another interesting tidbit there is that Kano has switched over to the PS5 this week.
As have I. My old Alfa Romeo teammate, following in the footsteps.
Yeah, the pad has the pad's a little bit different according to him though. I'm sure a wheel.
Yeah, it is. It
much
is
more
a
the
lot
same.
bigger.
The pad is probably a huge gap. So he was not going to race until about 30 minutes ago, and I guess someone persuaded him to come do it for Alfa Romeo. The Game Boy starting his hot lap. I think he's probably the only one on a flyer right now. A little late coming out of the pits. But yeah, you mentioned him earlier. He's down in P8, 44 points, but really about 50 points between second and ninth. And really, I think with the season being as long as it is, 24 races, there's still 14 to go. Well, 15 to go, actually, including this one. 50 points isn't that much, especially with Game Boy. He's been pretty consistently up front whenever he does finish the races, even though he came in a few races into the season. But yeah, he's definitely a guy to keep an eye out for. I believe he actually struggled last week. He was up front for most of the time in that lead group of 4 or so, but fell off at the end after a late safety car restart.
Yeah, and I think his biggest thing at the beginning of the season was just finishing. I know he had a couple DNFs, if I'm not mistaken, at the beginning. I know he DNF'd at Italy, and then struggled a little while after, but the pace seems to be coming back. Just from him all around.
Yeah, a lot of good points results. Yep, that'll be a P2 on track.
P2.
Not too shabby for Elite Game Boy. Also, we've got some fresh blood as well. It seems like we've had a lot of fresh blood over the course of this season. Ray _E46. Not sure where I've seen that name before, but I have seen it somewhere. The beautiful pink helmet. Uh-oh. Well, we won't focus on that. Yeah, Mexican driver just signed up. Guess he's reserving, or he might be filling in at that Mercedes full-time if he's able to. We'll see how he goes on his first run in Contest of Speed.
As Gordito and Clay Funk is on an outlap, but Gordito has yet to set a time.
Interesting. Yeah, I think most of these guys are on outlaps right now. We'll swing back to them.
I think
that's going to be one of the. I think it's going to be DK.
Ray is coming across the line now.
Yep. It's going to be P14
131
on the mediums. Not too shabby. Kept it clean.
Not bad.
DK's
RJ
leading the pack.
As well.
Yep, DK's leading the pack here for the second runs. DK finished P6 here last season.
As the back end goes, front wing is gone.
Dunlop. And that is a precarious position DK finds himself in. And who was that just went by him? Was that Kano?
That was Kano, followed by RJP, followed by Ray, who just came off the line.
Alright, well, let's ride along with RJP. Up in P4 right now. Took a break from league racing, but you've been engineering for him. He's picked it up pretty quickly. Once again.
Yeah, he seemed to adjust to setups well. He's using some of mine, kind of making them his own. As he seems to be backing out of this lap.
Yeah, it does look like he just called it quits on that one. Let's see.
I think he might have been validated through the S's, or in corner 2. As Kano, I'm not sure if he's going for a lap or if he's going to come in here.
Fatal's on a hot lap on those mediums. Boy, this sure is tricky. Hey, Bursey. Nice to see Bursey tuning in.
Fatal backed out. So
where are we going next?
RJ, or it's either Motown or RJ is on a lap. I think it's RJ.
Motor's going through Spoon right now. RJ just backed out of his, I think.
Yep, he's he just came out of turn 2.
Around. Porridge is coming about halfway through the second sector. Mitch Burns goes fast again. It's a 1:29.1. Very competitive times for Mitch.
Blade is out of the session. I'm not sure where he went off. I
think he retired in the pits.
Yeah.
I'll be saving some sets of softs. Say that 3 times fast. Might be saving some of those for the race. And he's okay with his spot in P3 right now. Racing Fan goes up to P6. Porge across the line in the McLaren. P5. Good for him. Finished
Not
P9
bad.
last race. I'll tell you.
RJ goes a little bit deep.
I'll tell you what surprised me. I was looking up who had the best finishes. Last race. This was last season, I think. Race 4 or 5, something like that. The best returning result from AM2 that year, whoa, was RJP. Knocks out the Ballards. It's actually VTech. VTech finished 4th in that race. So
really?
VTech with that was his best result ever.
RJ overtakes Electric for P3.
P3.
A little over 50 hundredths.
Speaking of surprise results, Villeneuve, by far season best P6 last year. Still out on those mediums. I think that first one might have been a gopher lap. Maybe not. But he does improve the time. P12 will be what it is for now. Only really possible to get 3 runs around here. Some tracks you can get 3, some tracks you can get 4. This circuit is, in particular, pretty long. So you can
especially with how long they waited to go out.
Yeah,
I think 3 is about the max.
Here is Bodhad ripping through 130R. See if you can improve on that P9. Up to P5 for Bod. Should be a track where Bod can get a little momentum on those with that fancy fan attack that he's got.
I think the last time I raced here in AM2, I think you won that race.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to bring it up. I wasn't going to bring it up, but thank you. Yes, I did. Reed Game Boy missing a front wing. Not ideal for him. Let's see if he might not have enough time to get back out there. This might be a Mitch Burns pole. I believe that'll be his 3rd on the season. Vamu currently going one more time through the hairpin. It's going to be a while to see what those sector splits are for Vamu. But
Not sure.
Right along with him.
Markaka's on an outlap as well. A bunch of guys. VTech, VTech and Fatal as well. As RJP is in. I'm not sure. I would think they'd have enough time if they're quick trying to get out here to set another lap, but I'm not exactly sure.
Going across the line, championship leader will go P4, knocking down Electric Blade one more spot. DK as well, he is about to enter the 3rd sector. See where his time's at. Up in your top right. He is up almost half a second on his previous time. This is looking like a pretty good lap for DK.
Missed the apex a little bit on the final corner, but shouldn't lose too much time as he improves to P6.
That'll knock down his teammate one spot. Those guys always end up right next to each other. Luke Arkaka is just now starting a hot lap. He's the only one on track, unless
VTech is retired.
Unless Vamu's trying to go again. Yeah, looks
like VTech is retired in the S's.
Oh, is he? Uh-oh. That's not ideal.
No, not at all. We'll see. I think he should be ghosted and be alright.
Looks like Arkaka and Motor on competitive laps right now. Fatal as well. Everybody else on... Well, Mitch actually just started one too. We'll try to hit these guys in order. Horch had a really good run. Had a couple of podiums earlier this season. Kano is retired.
Kano's off.
Yep, that is in the S's as well. He's
The
not
fourth
set a time.
corner, middle S.
Arcock is not going to improve. That means we're going to go to Fatal on 130R. Fatal currently 6th in the championship. He's going to go up to 10th. Probably not the qualifying he was looking for. His race pace has been a lot stronger than his qualifying pace though this season, must be said. We have Motor doing 130R. Unless that's Mitch Burns. Oops. P11 for Motor. He'll get the free tire choice. Mitch is right behind him. Let's see if he improves at all on that time. He sure does. 1:29.1. He looks by some margin to be the fastest around here this evening. I'm gonna swing to Racing Fan.
The last one on the lap is RJ.
Yeah. Trying to focus on getting everybody in order, what is pretty difficult with that figure 8 layout to be able to really tell where everybody is on track.
Looking at the map.
Racing Fan will finish in P9.
Then it's both the McLaren's P8 and the Arcaca's P8.
Yeah, they're both done.
And it's
Yeah, it's gonna be
RJ.
RJP. Yeah, RJ coming across. Was that Fatal? Oh, Fatal got another lap out of that. Oh man,
P2.
it's popping off up front. Fatal goes P2. He thought he was gonna go in, but then RJP comes back, knocks him down to P3. That's a big come up for Fatal, who was down there in P10. I believe. Let's go to Bodhod. That is going to be Bodhod, and then our newbie, Ray.
As Claypool does not set a lot.
Ooh, bot up to P5. Good quality from him.
Nice.
Then one final guy is Ray, and he's going to pull that into the pits. Oh, he almost hits the pole winner. For this afternoon, it is none other than Quebec's finest, Mitch Burns. 29.1, over almost 4.5 tenths clear of P2, which is RJP and Fatal. Make sure, everybody, to get your predictions in the comments, if you so choose. I'll let you think about it, Peyton.
Yeah.
'Cause I think that we're going to be seeing an interesting one.
Yeah, I think this will be really interesting, considering I think there's going to be at least one safety car in this race. Could come early, could be late. Who knows?
Never know. Well, let's run through here. Mitch Burns, RJP, Fatal, Elite, Bod, Vomit, Electric, DK, Porridge, Racing Fan, Motor, Arcaca, Gordito, Villeneuve, VTech, Ray, Kano, and Clay, who has decided to not set a time once again. A lot of guys on the medium tires, I think trying to get into the top 10, but they all came up short, so now they'll be able to start on the mediums for the race. Strategy around here, I think soft to hard's the safest. Some guys good on their tires might be able to do a soft to medium, but they're going to have to stretch those softs a really long way, especially if they're inside the top 10.
I think, like we were talking about earlier, to make the one stop work with the softs, you'd have to go 10 to probably 12 laps.
Yeah, at least that.
Windows probably 8 to 10.
I think you'd probably be looking at about lap. Oof, I don't even know. Probably lap 12 or 13. I think is probably the safest way to go about it, because those mediums don't really last that long either. So yeah, soft, probably looking at a pit window 8 to 10 to hard. And then some guys, maybe on the wheel, someone like Bod, who's usually pretty good at protecting his tires, could maybe stretch that to get a medium run. Either way, going to be dry conditions all the way through. Disregard the light cloud to overcast conditions. There will be no rain this evening for these guys, which I'm sure they're grateful for, because this is already tricky enough as it is. And as you said, I think not going to rule out a safety car. We've seen a couple of circuits get a couple of safety cars that we usually don't expect. This is usually a track that you would expect to get that. Very tight, very narrow. So many places to make mistakes, especially through the S's. And especially this year with the, how do you say, finickiness of those curbs. Nonetheless, I'm ready to get this thing going.
Who's Revere on the hards, or am I?
He sure is. Well, let's do this grid run through. Let's get this grid run through going on. It is
My favorite part of the stream.
It is Mitch Burns on pole, looking to narrow down the championship gap to Vamu down there in P6. RJP looking real strong in qualifying. Let's see if he can convert that into a podium during the race without his engineer, who's up here with me. Fatal in P3, one of his better starting positions. I think he's finally starting to find a little bit of form that he's been looking for all year. Elite Game Boy in P4. Bodhod P5 might be his best qualifying of the year. Not sure, but the Season 6 champion has really lived up to his full promise this year. Vamanubo in P6, current championship leader. Looking to limit some damage. Electric won the EU3 race this afternoon. We'll see if he can do it again. It's going to be a little bit tricky down there in P7. DK in P8. Porridge in P9. Racing Fan in P10. He's been qualifying pretty good. Hasn't finished a race, though, in his first two tries in Contest of Speed. Motor in P11. Arkaka in P12. Gordito in P13. Villeneuve 14th. VTEC in 15th. Ray in 16th. Kano 17th. And Clay did not set a time. He will be starting last once again. Interesting to note, Motor only won inside or outside the top 10, starting there on those soft tires in P11. Arkaka will be starting on the mediums, as will everyone else except for Gordito, who is going to go on those hards. I'm not sure if the people behind him are going to be too appreciative of that.
Yeah,
because,
I think so.
Because that's going to be difficult to get around.
I think the softs is a good strat if you're banking on a safety car, unless you're in the top 10. But the medium is probably the way to go. Unless, of course, obviously you're in the top 10 and you're locked on the softs.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. I mean, that might be Motor's rationale there. I don't dislike it, to be completely honest.
Yeah. More grip early. Why not?
Yeah, I think whether you're on the mediums or the hards, it's actually going to be a little difficult to see those activate. Take a few reps. Wait for that glitch there.
Red lights.
Yep. Let the reps build their off.
From
Suzuka, Mitch looks like he got a good start there. And RJP's going to fall into line. Fatal in P3. Status quo so far through the field. Nothing too crazy. But someone's going to have to give here. That is Porridge and Racing Fan going side by side to the S's. And Racing Fan runs a little wide.
I'm not going to jinx it.
Yeah, no jinx, but these guys have made it through the S's, I believe. All right.
Yes, they have.
Wow, congratulations to these guys. They all get participation trophies. VTEC, biggest loser there. I'm not sure what happened to him. He only lost a couple of spots. But he is
I
down
think he just lost the
last.
rear end a little bit, slid out on him. He just lost a few places.
It's possible.
He held on to it.
You know what? Looks like Mitch Burns is kind of checking out a little bit here. 9/10 already through halfway through the race lap. Excuse me. Forgot the language for a second. Might be having a stroke. Who knows? A little bit further down. Looks like Ray E and Kano. Kano's going real wide through Spoon. Must have lost it somewhere. Oh, is VTech, speaking of losing it, VTech has lost it, and he is out of this race. Oh, that is bad luck for VTech. He just barely just hardly tapped that wall. And unfortunately for him, there is a column of tires that juts out, and that ripped off the front left of his car. Poor VTech.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate.
He is not going to be able to live up to the high expectations he had from last season when he had his career best finish in P4. Unfortunately for him, it is over before it really got a chance to start. So Mitch Burns leads the way so far.
Yeah, not too many position changes either. Only one position change in the top 10. That's DK taking 7th from Electric.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
real stagnant.
Not too much.
Yeah, real stagnant. I think maybe these guys had a gentleman's agreement going into the race. They weren't going to try anything too crazy to those S's, given just how much they have been nerfed by Codemasters on this game. But yeah, it looks like, aside from a little off-track excursion involving Porridge and Racing Fan, where I think Racing Fan just kind of going too wide through a place that's only got room for one, and whatever happened to VTech. Clean first lap for all these guys, which if I had a bingo card, that is one of the things that I would have thought. I'm going to be crossing off pretty quickly. Fatal in P3, right up the gearbox of RJP. Mitch Burns seems like he got the best release out of anybody on that.
And restart. I know as well as anybody down the straights here, if you have a high downforce setup, you're not going to be able to get by anybody unless you've got DRS as well as ERS. Because the last time me and you raced here, I was right behind you the whole race and couldn't get by. Because I had no ERS and DRS was not enough.
I was also a savant on those harder tires on that game for whatever reason. Vamu is trying to get around Bod. We have you'd think that since Argentina is home to Australia that these guys would have a slightly better connection with one of each other, but they're both lagging all over the place. This is not what DK wants to see behind him.
Definitely not. DK is closing in on Vamu as well, almost to the gearbox now. I don't think he's going to make a move here. Maybe the hairpin?
Perhaps if he's really trying to send it. Yeah, it's like,
well, yeah, here he goes.
He does. He's going to try around the outside. Yeah, he's going to try to launch that around a slightly banked. Yeah, slightly cambered there. So it is possible to get a move done around the outside, but inside is preferred. RJP did fall to Fatal. I think that must have been in turn 1. I didn't think he was going to get that move done. Not sure if that was a mistake from RJP or Fatal sent one. I guess we'll never know. But Elite Game Boy is back. Oh no, Racing Fan. Oh, and he has lost it in a similar position as
another VSC.
Yeah, I think that is the same situation that happened to VTech. They might have just hit that death curve on the X of the Spoon, turn him right into the wall, and that's going to be another VSC. These guys are holding their horses. I'm sure Mitch. Oh, that's going to transition to a full-blown safety car. We're going to get an extra lap as well. We'll see if any of these soft runners venture to jump off of them at this point. I'm not sure. This is a really awkward spot for
unless you're going to go to the hards. I would think it's probably not the strategy.
Yeah,
it's probably not the medium runners.
Gordito's getting off of those. Yeah, Motor has put on another pair of softs, so he's going to be two-stopping. Vamu has put on another set, or he's put on a set of medium, so he's going to be two-stopping. Probably soft, medium for Vamu. Interesting, as he passes that beautiful Aston Martin. It's an Advantage safety car.
I think if I was down there right now and I was on the softs, I would go Unless they were completely worn out, I would stay on them. But if they were, I would go to the mediums just in case we get another safety car. Then it's straight to the softs for the end of the race.
Yeah, I think the top 8 would agree with you. Or actually, it was kind of when that safety car came out. Most of those guys had already passed the pit entry. We'll see again once they come around. But I think Vamu was able to make that call real early. That timing must have been pretty perfect for him. A little surprised no hards. Those hards can definitely do the distance, and I don't think that they felt that bad in the little bit of practice that I did. But these guys might feel otherwise.
I struggled a little bit on them earlier for the first couple laps, but they felt sort of like the mediums, I would kind of say, after that for a while. They didn't really die off too quickly, and they didn't take too long to come up to speed. It's a little surprising that no one went to them.
Oh, well, we're seeing
A bunch of stops.
Yeah, it looks like everybody on those softs will be getting off those softs, except for Elite Game Boy, DK Nortec, and Electric Blade. They're going to gamble on those softs. Try to stick it out for a one-stop, but... okay, so from there, Bod and Clay have both put on the hards. That's going to be a one-stop, hopefully, for those two.
What happened to RJP? He fell. Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
The stops that were before him overtook him.
Yeah.
Him and
Yeah,
Fatal.
that was unfortunate timing, I think, for the top 5. They didn't have the time to make that decision, but Vamu back, they were able to. The rest of this, yeah, these guys are all... The top 6 did not pit. 3 on soft, 3 on mediums. See if this... see how it plays out. I think they might be banking on another safety car before those tires wear off.
I think if there is another safety car like this for 3 to 4 laps, I think these mediums can go to the end if I'm correct. I'm not mistaken. If they take care of them.
Crack open another LaCroix. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is an interesting situation. Track position is pretty paramount around here. You're talking about maybe 1.5 overtaking zones on the entire circuit. So, you know, for Elite, Game Boy, DK, Electric, who started a little bit further back in that top 10, you know, it might be well worth the gamble here. I think Bod, if everything goes to plan for Bod, if he can hold off, he probably won't be able to hold off Vamu, but if he can hold off everyone else and just take care of those hards to the end, I think he might be able to benefit pretty greatly from this early safety car.
Yeah, as the safety car is in this lap. Let's see when Elite goes. Oh, Elite slides on exit.
And that's going to be...
Can't pass him.
Yeah, that is a folly of man from Elite Game Boy. Not ideal. From him, DK is going to inherit the lead in that case. Good news for Elite Game Boy is that he will fend off Electric for P2. I haven't seen that before. I have seen a couple of crashes under the safety car. But
I did crash last week under safety car, but we're not going to talk about that.
It's a lot easier than it looks. Arkaka trying to give the business to Electric. And that is Porridge who is DNF'd. Where is that out? Was that a possibly...
Oh, Motown's around.
Yeah, Motor has spun as well. Death curve for him. Looks like he might have hit the same thing that Porridge did. Probably clipped that inside curve and sent him directly into the wall. Not ideal. Unfortunate for Porridge.
As Obama overtakes RJ and Bod.
Well, that's something. Unfortunately, missed that. But nonetheless, sounds like a good move from Vamu. And he is flying on those mediums so far, up to the back of Fatal, who was running P2. Fatal's got to get this move done real quick on Ray. Ray put it in the middle of the track. Through 130R, let's see if he feels like Fernando Alonso today. No, he doesn't. See if he dive bombs. He won't. And Fatal's got to get this move done ASAP.
Yeah, this is just allowing Vamo and RJ to just stick around.
Up the inside now into turn 1. And he's going to get that done. Yeah, he got it done. Clean move from Fatal. Now next up for Vomit is going to be tracking down Ray. Try to keep up with Fatal. If he can keep up with Fatal, I think that he could get himself into podium contention, which would be ideal for someone starting in P9. Kano. Is that Kano did he drop it?
Oh, Vamo went sideways and saved it in the uphill left-hander after the S's. RJ had to back out so he wouldn't run over him. But good save from Vamo.
And up front, DK has pulled out over a second advantage.
Ooh,
who is that? Is that Ray spins?
On those 6-lap old mediums.
Yeah, probably cooled off considerably. Clay is lost in the same spot as well through the hairpin. Yeah, those hards are not... Oh, I think Bod must have had a problem as well. Those hards do take a few laps to get up to temperature. So they might be... This might have been some problems for them.
The curves, especially at the beginning of the stint, are horrible to touch on the hards. On any tire in general, but especially the hards. They just feel like you're driving on ice.
DRS enabled here on lap 8. Fatal sets the fastest lap. Electric Blade is going to get a move done. No DRS necessary as he slides. Ooh, he slid through turn 1 there. Slide job, says Dale Jr. Arkaka starting to hamper the progress here. Oh no! That is Villeneuve behind Mitch Burns. He's lost it in the same spot that we just saw Porridge and Motor.
It's unfortunate. He seemed like he was on for a pretty good finish up in P6.
Yeah, obviously let his teammate by. But yeah, just must have clipped the inside curb a little bit like the rest of these guys. All those curbs through the S's. You have to stay so switched on through that entire complex. Otherwise...
And not a place you can really take a second off.
But yeah, Mitch is losing ground. He's got to get by Arkaka. He wants to stay in that DRS train with those front 3, which you can see right above the number 4
Fatal
Arkaka.
seems to have turned it up a notch. He has a 2-second gap to Vamo behind now.
Yeah, Arkaka's lost DRS. I think if Mitch gets a good exit here, this should be pretty straightforward. Electric with fastest lap of the race. He is looking for a move on DK, actually, up the front. He's going to back off as Mitch gets by Arkaka.
Ooh, DK's off a little bit there. Loses a position.
Oh, and that's going to be Electric in the lead. Feeling pretty confident. He was talking about...
Elite attacking next on the back of DK.
Yeah, this is typically around where you'd start to feel a little bit of degradation on those softer compound tires, but with that 3-lap safety car earlier, it's probably not too bad for these guys. As evidence, they are kind of running away a bit from the top, but as long as Mitch stays attached and there isn't another safety car that happens at just the right moment, he should be good to go here with less than a second separating him.
As RJ gets by Vamo. I'm not exactly sure where that happened. I missed that one, but I'm sure it was a nice move.
Yeah. Well, if we had replays, we could probably go back and find that, but we don't. Unfortunately, Codemasters, get that in your game next time. Camera angles around here are beautiful, by the way. I love the camera angles around Suzuka. And these guys, yeah, that is good for RJ. He's definitely gonna have to catch up to that other train. If these two can work together, I think it would probably benefit both of them.
Oh yeah.
That is Elite Game Boy into the pits. He's off those softs. Let's see if he throws on hards or if he's going for a 2-stop. Looks like it's gonna be a 2-stop for him, unless he has some sort of wizardry to take these mediums 27 laps.
The only one that hasn't pit or that didn't pit under the safety car that's still out there in the top 5 is Arkaka. So I would think he'd be coming in the next 4 laps maybe. Something like that.
Well, it depends. With that early safety car, you might be able to try to, or might be trying to stick it out on those mediums for as long as possible and see if you can get the softs for the last stint.
I mean, I guess if you're not losing too much time and they still feel pretty good, not sliding around, why not? And then get on the faster tire when you have less fuel, lighter load.
Yeah, those mediums are definitely switching on now. Mitch Burns is in DRS for DK, and DK is flirting with that 1 second barrier to Electric. Electric looks pretty good on these softs right now, but DK and Game Boy were struggling. They're at the ends. Let's see if DK ducks off of the pits. Electric will. It's actually Electric. Okay, he's reacting to Elite Game Boy to pit a lap ago. Let's see what the race leader chooses. This is going to be a long little trudge down.
Fatal gets by
Arkaka
down the main straight.
Those are mediums. Okay, everybody's going mediums. Maybe I have missed something. Maybe you can take those mediums a lot longer than I'm giving them credit for. That's what happens when you can't do more than 2 laps without spinning around the S's. Now Mitch Burns is right on the back of DK. This is breaking pretty good for him at the moment. I would anticipate DK is going to be pitting this lap just to respond to everyone else. RJP picks up 3 seconds. That might come. That might not help him out too much at the end of this race. But I would expect a lot of penalties here.
Yeah, and I think when DK and Arkaka finally pit in, that's the battle for 3rd and 4th right there. So that's a podium position between Bamo and RJ. So that could come in to hurt him later. But we'll see. As he's closing the gap down, what's that? 130R? Or
yeah, that's a yellow for, I think, Bod. Yeah, I think that's Bod. He's lost the gear on those hard tires. Kind of seems like a replay last week as DK does pit. And then I'll move Fatal up to P2 just outside of DRS.
Bamo covers the inside as RJ is going to try and push it around the outside for turn 1. He runs a little bit wide.
Let's see who gets him.
Still a side-by-side.
Let's see who gets some better exit. That's RJP gets some better exit on the outside there. Game Boy pumps in the fastest lap. 132.351.
It's a good move from RJ right there.
Yeah.
Down the straight around the outside.
Yeah, almost lost it.
Can recover.
Almost lost it on those outside curves, but he's able to hold it together. Composed overtake on the outside. Somehow Kano's gotten up to the P7 through this pit cycle. DK is put on hards. So DK is trying to one-stop here. Elite Game Boy and Electric Blade put on mediums. We'll see if those two can take it to the end, because DK certainly can. And I think towards the end of the stint, if that's what they're trying, those hards will in fact be better at the end of those things.
It's a 3-second time penalty.
I think those are the least of his concerns at the moment, as he's really struggling on those hards to find any sort of consistency. Give it up for Arkaka. This has been his strongest performance of the season thus far. Up in P3, and he's sticking with Fatal, even though Fatal does have slightly fresher tires. Mitch Burns does what he has to do. He puts in a fastest lap on those worn mediums. Slightly worn. They're not worn, but they're...
Arkaka's actually pulling a gap, or he was, to RJ and Bamo. I'm not sure if it's because they were fighting, but...
Yeah, and I think it's
was
also...
up to 3 seconds.
Yeah, and Arkaka's also just able to... He's not really doing anything... I mean, he's doing everything right now. As he gets on that curve, that's not right, but... He's been staying in DRS zone. He's been sticking with Fatal, which is what he has to do to build a gap. Electric will be coming up on Kano here shortly.
RJP is pulling a gap from Vamo up to 1.6, 1.7 now. So that seems to be over with for the moment. Electric and Kano. Electric on the new tire should be able to get a move done fairly quickly, I would think.
Yeah, I don't think Kano's going to fight too hard either. I think he's just trying to score a point or two today on that new controller, the PS5 controller, which he won't stop bragging about. But he's not used to it quite yet. I think Electric will be able to get something done here by the end of this straightaway. Yeah, he's got a huge run. Oh, it's Kano. Oh, I think Kano was giving him the inside. But Electric went to the outside. And that'll be job done for Electric. See if Kano fights back with DRS. I don't think he will. Struggling for grip a little bit there. And Electric does put in the fastest lap of the race. So, halfway through, and we're looking at the possible race winners here, as the field has spread quite a bit. Motor is pitting off those softs. I think he's going to throw in a pair of mediums to go the rest of the way. I think it's safe to say that Mitch is in the best spot, but he is going to have to pit again. So I'm not really sure how this is going to play out, because I'm not really sure how long the mediums of Electric will last. Elite Game Boy as well, in a similar situation.
I think if I'm down on track right now, I want to be in Electric shoes, just because of the mediums from here I think can make it to the end, even though it might be like riding a skateboard at the end, but they can, and as long as you pull enough gap on the leaders when they pit, they shouldn't be able to recover that much time.
If Mitch and Fatal do pit again, they would be on softs, and you're probably talking about a 2-second, maybe more, difference per lap in that last 10-lap stretch of this race, which we're approaching rather quickly. Elite Game Boy's going to have to make quick work of Ray, but Ray is sticking in the DRS of Kano.
As RJP seems to be getting a little bit closer to Arkaka. Not a ton, but he's within sight now.
Yeah, Arkaka fell out of that DRS train behind Fatal, and he has been slowly slipping back to what I would consider slightly quicker driver, but RJP picks up another 3 seconds. He's up to 6. I think he's the first one.
Probably won't be the last.
Yeah, it is easy to pick up. I'm honestly kind of surprised at how clean these guys have kept it so far today. As we've got a
Sector 1 yellow bod, I believe.
Bod again. Yep, that is Bod. Death Curbs yet again for the Australian. I mean, Argentinian. Electric is catching up to Gordito, who's had a pretty quiet run so far, but up into P6 nonetheless. Solid job from him after starting on the hards in 13th. Unfortunately for him, I think that this isn't going to last very long. Ray is DNF'd. Is that in the same spot we've seen the other DNFs? Safety car. Now, this is gonna be, this actually
last exit of Spoon, I believe. Again.
Yep, that is where we lost VTech and Racing Fan. Yep, right there is the damage. Mitch Burns.
Guy at the front, softs are the move.
Arkaka.
DNFs. Arkaka.
Where did that happen at? Oh, he DNF'd around turn 1. What happened there? Oh, that is an interesting... It looks like he... Oh, I think he must have clipped that inside turn 1 curb, and it sent him directly into the inside wall. Now, interesting... let's pay our respects real quick to Arkaka, who was having a really good race today. We'll pay our respects here. Alright. Interesting stuff at the front of the field, though. I thought this was going to be a godsend for Mitch, but he did miss by not sure how much. Couldn't have been too much.
I think everyone down to Vamo
everybody,
didn't have time.
Yeah, everybody else has pit onto those softs. Let's actually check where Electric... I think Mitch will be able to come back out in front. He's going around 130 right now. We'll see if he can get back out in time. So this still... It might not be that big of a deal, but yeah, we're looking at... Yeah, I think they'll be alright, actually, but that is pretty tight for those guys. So
Interesting strategy from Vamo. He's back on the mediums. I'm not sure...
maybe
I think it might be the right call, depending on how long the safety car lasts, I guess.
Oh, Mitch has done the same.
Lap.
Mitch has done the same. RJP has done the same. Let's look at Fatal. He's
Maybe
done
they
the
don't
same.
want to go to the worn softs.
Yeah, I think that's got to be it.
I can't imagine they're super worn, though. Maybe 6%, but I guess that probably would be the right call, considering how fast they degrade here.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, this is shaping up to be pretty interesting. Got Mitch, Fatal, RJP all on even tire strategy, along with Famu in P4. Electric, then Kano, then Gordito, all on the softs. And they'll have to see. I think there's going to be overlap at the end of the stint, but based on the way Electric was kind of dominating this race from the front, he might be able to get through these guys. So this is going to be an interesting...
Yeah, I think those softs are going to be really good.
Yeah, this is going to be a real interesting restart. Unfortunate for Elite Game Boy, he really didn't benefit from that. He got stuck in traffic and he's down there in P8 after being in the lead pack for most of the day. That's kind of been the story of his season so far. But speaking of guys that really caught a break, Kano on the softs in P6. In a similar position to where he was last week in Belgium, whenever he snagged his first career podium. P2 for him after a late safety car. Some parallels. Not going to draw too many because I still feel like he's not really up to pace on that pad, PS5 pad yet. But Gordito is well up in P7. That really worked out well for him with the Russia helmet. Looks like he's running a Russian tribute helmet. Yeah, Gordito up from P13. Pretty solid day for him. DK on the mediums after that. You got Clay in P11. 5 DNFs so far. From first to last. VTech, Racing Fan, Porridge, Ray, Arkaka. 3 of those guys all lost at the same corner. Arkaka lost it under a safety car. And Porridge lost it on the death curb, which I believe is turn... Let's turn 5. Either way, did Gordito make a mistake? I think Gordito might have made a mistake because Kano has slipped through under safety car here.
Just like P6. Last week, Kano making another move under safety car restart.
Yeah, we're back green. Mitch is bolting out, but I think the real battle here is going to be seeing Electric and how aggressive he wants to play this in comparison to Vamu. Yeah, you can look at that grip level right there. Kano's lost it. Kano's in the wall. Ooh. Where's that at? Is that Dunlop?
Yes, yeah, uphill left-hander. As Clayfunk will now get into the points.
And I think Clayfunk also
starting P18.
Probably just defecated himself whenever he drove through Kano's ghost on top of that hill.
Another 3 seconds.
3 seconds for Bod, but look at these guys all packed up. This is exactly what Mitch Burns wants. He's already at a DRS zone. Electric is stuck behind this group. Fatal cork in the bottle at the moment. And if Electric can clear this in a couple of laps, he might have a way to P1.
I think Gordito is also going to end up catching up to the pack here.
Fatal doesn't get a good exit out of the Casio triangle. That's going to open the door for RJP. See if RJP sends it here. It's going to tuck in behind Fatal. Electric as well, just tucking in here. You can see Mitch escaping. He knows that's his race. If he can just clear these three guys. Not a great position to be in. Our Gordito loses it. Gordito has lost it. Around the first curb of the S's, RJP picks up another penalty. Gordito has completely bent it in on that death curb. So many death curbs. That is the word of the night, guys. Death curb.
Just interesting to see another Sector 1 in yellow. I think that's Kano again. Yep.
Same place.
Oh, he's in the gravel.
You know what? I'm not gonna watch that. Have some respect. That man has a family.
Vamo Electric, that train that they're in, is pretty much the same as it was. I think Fatal and RJ pulled a little bit of a gap on Vamo and Electric, but we'll see how long that lasts with Electric on the softs.
Yeah, that's going to allow Mitch to put in another fastest lap. 131.5. For
Comes
Mitch.
Electric to the back of Vamo. Outside, maybe? Nope.
Oh, man, it's so difficult to pass around here.
Ooh, yeah, Electric lost a little bit of time through there. I think a little bit of understeer.
Yeah, even DK starting to catch up to Game Boy. DK is coming alive later on in this race. I think he's going to want to get by, and I believe Kano is just DNF'd in the pits, saving himself from any further shame. Bodhod fastest lap. He's thrown on the softs. It's a 130.9. Somebody's going to be disappointed they're not going to get a extra bonus point for fastest lap. I think that'll be Mitch Burns. But he does have about 25 points on offer at the moment. 1.7 seconds is the gap to P2. With Game Boy trying to catch up, desperately trying to catch up to this DRS train. 1.3 back on 2 through 5. But he might gain. I mean, it's got clear air, something that those four don't have.
I don't think this has worked out the way Electric had foreseen.
Yeah, I mean, he's really got to get this move done before those softs fall off a cliff. You see up there, RJ going to the inside. Fatal covers it off pretty nicely. Defensive driving tactics that he learned in the Fernando Alonso handbook. That's gonna completely stall out RJP up this hill. Famu is getting a much better run until he goes a little off.
Little square way up the hill.
Yeah, let's see if Electric sends it maybe through the hairpin. I mean, we're running out of laps here. I think Mitch is taking his foot off the accelerator a little bit. 1.5. As long as he can keep that within a second, or over a second, that'll be what he's looking for.
Mitch seems to be leading the parade right now by quite a margin.
Yeah, and Fatal's actually been able to get a little bit of daylight there. 1 second out of RJP. Big second sector for Fatal. Might RJP on the button, I think. Claws it back just a little bit. Kano says his race was definitely interesting. Definitely looked like a Kano. RJP... he does stay in. DRS
barely.
Electric is right on the gearbox of Vomit. He's going to have to get this move done now.
Electric on the back of Vomit.
Yep, now or never.
Oh, sideways.
Oh, my
Tokyo
lord.
Drift.
Wow.
We are in Japan, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we are.
Still side by side.
Whoa, goodness. Yeah, that is definitely... If we had the licensing rights, we would be able to play that Tokyo Drift song, but we can't. Those tires are going to be extra spicy.
Yeah, they seem to have fallen off quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I think they're just hot now. They probably have a couple more laps left. But that was the moment for them. Now Elite Game Boy and DK are joining into this train. Got these guys playing Human Centipede back here. Yeah, that was save of the season stuff for Electric, but I don't think he really cares right now, given the fact that he's stuck back there in P5.
I think if this finishes this way, it's going to be a big bummer for RJP, especially being the only one that has a penalty all the way down to P9.
Yeah, he's going to drop considerably. Yeah, but credit where it's due for Mitch, Fatal, Vamu, Electric, Elite, Game Boy, DK, Motor. None of those guys have picked up penalties in what is an extremely tricky circuit. In tricky conditions, as the race has progressed, the track temp has definitely dropped as RJP really sends it there. We might open a door here for Vamu or Electric. Watch these guys snake.
Yellow
Snake.
Sector 1?
Sector 1 is a real move.
That's not Sector 1. Oh, Gordito's out.
Oh. Yeah, not sure
Safety
if we're going to be
car.
able to see what happens there. Okay, now this is interesting. I mean...
It's going to be a 2-lap shootout.
Yeah,
so...
we just had one. I'm not sure if... When we've seen Electric here, he cannot get by, and if you pit, that safety car is going to come in on lap 25. So you're going to have to really hustle to get back to the back of the grid. I guess we could have checked and seen what happened to Gordito. Villeneuve's going to throw in softs with a 5-second time penalty, it looks like. So I don't really blame Villeneuve. Yeah. We're just going to lead these guys through 130R, through the Casio triangle, see if any of them bite. I think if you're fail right now, you do whatever he doesn't. Nope. Uniform. Electric going to throw on another set of softs. Same with... Oh, he's the only one biting here.
Fastest lap attempt? Probably.
You would have thought he learned his lesson the first time. Nobody else pit in front of him. And nobody followed him. Obviously, Clay is going to come in. There's really no sense for him not to. Same with Villeneuve. But yeah, these... so I guess the outside of the top 7, we're going to be on fresh softs. Let's see if Bod goes. I would assume that he does. Yeah, he'll come in for softs. But, I mean, we just saw these guys stuck. Obviously, the mediums are a little bit more now. But, at the same time... Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're going to be able to carve your way through the field that much. Either way, I think these guys are going to provide some fireworks towards the end of what has been one of the better races of the season, I gotta say.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Fatal fares, especially in the restart. See if we get another Game Boy moment at the front, or if they're able to keep it clean on exit of the first corner there, or last corner, I should say.
Yep, we have seen this a time or two this season. Mitch Burns in position for a win, but he does seem to get cucked out of it at the last second. We'll see if anything happens today, but I think Mitch... Tied between Mitch and Electric for best driver this afternoon, or this evening. definitely between those two. Vamo, even though he hates the track, had zero confidence going into it. The championship leader is in P4. Elite Game Boys have an adventure, but he's in P5. DK in P6. Motor in P7. Then after that, kind of feeling like those might be chum. Elite, DK, Motor. They might end up being the chum bucket you dump over to see some sharks. For those last 4 guys on softs. One more lap under safety car.
You know, this is our favorite thing as commentators, watching the cars drive around slowly around track.
Yeah, I do.
Behind the safety car. Gives us time to talk about other important things, such as Kitten, how's your fantasy team doing?
Oh, everybody cares about each other's fantasy teams. I know that. Well, three teams. One's 4-1, one's 3-2, and the other one's 2-3. So
nice.
About 500 for the year. How about you?
I don't have one this year. I didn't play any fantasy football, although the Colts are playing horrible as always. So that's always fun.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up, dude. Wow. I can't even imagine not having a fantasy team. Mainly because my team moved to LA 5 years ago.
Yeah, that one's tough. At least your team didn't choke a lead not the St. Louis, to the Ravens last night when they were up 22-3 in the fourth.
True. I mean, that is tough. That is tough. I am perfectly fine just watching Red Zone on my couch all day on Sundays, not having to worry about a team going 2-14 every season. Mitch Burns is leading the pack here. See where he goes. He's really backing him up. He's gone now. That was a bit of a dummy move. Let's see if Fatal, RJP, Vamu, these guys actually did catch on to it. I thought it was a better move than it actually was from Mitch. They snuffed it out pretty quick. And these guys are all packed up. Electric doesn't get a move done, and he's going to have to make moves hand over fist here. Oh, his motor runs a little wide. That'll help him out. That'll help Electric out, I should say. We got DK made a move on Electric, or Elite Game Boy for P5, and he's now attacking P4.
We'll see who really took care of the temps and the tires in that restart.
Yeah, look at Electric back here. He's stuck in traffic. Oh, he's going to try to send it, but it's... Oh, no. He tried to hang it around the inside, Villeneuve style, on Elite Game Boy, but he ends up touching the grass, and it shoots him right back into the inside barrier. That is rough.
Motown on the back of Elite now.
Oh, man. We're down to 10. If you finish, you score.
Yeah. Vamo gets by RJ for P3.
Vamo gets P3. As it stands now, that'll be pretty strong damage limitation. Oh, is that DK's? Dude, he really sent it into the Casio triangle. Wound up jumping the barrier and backing out. Let's see if that leaves him vulnerable. Doesn't look like it. Elite Game Boy is far enough back. Clay Funk getting a move done for P7 on motor. Oh, these guys are swapping positions more often than a Kim Kardashian movie. It is Clay Funk now P8. Oh gosh, Clay touched that death curve. Electric with some colorful language that you might expect in the comments. Gru commenting that it's been quite a race to miss. It has, Gru. It has. All you have to do is just keep it on track. You can scored some points here this evening. Mitch has taken that lead up. As Villeneuve gets a move done on Bod further back. Oh, Bod actually lost it to the hairpin. Mitch will be entering the third sector shortly. Vamu right on the tail of Fatal. doesn't really matter. Vamu will be able to hold the points lead from this position, but an extra couple points wouldn't hurt too much, would it? That would actually be really nice. Let's see if he launches a lob. Dive bomb. Nope. He's going to back out. Fatal's going to hold on to it. Vamu picks up a 3-second time penalty. That might get DK the podium. But Mitch Burns, Mitch Burns, is going to come through.
Oh yes, DK.
And win his first career race in Contest of Speed at an eventful Japanese Grand Prix, round 10 of the AM2 season. Very eventful out here. Mitch is switching up the helmets week to week now. That is Clay Funk gets driver of the day, given to him by the game. Mitch Burns, hey, he's got a copy of the game and he's handing it out. Wow. He is like the Quebecois Santa Claus, Mitch Burns. You wanna invite these three to the party? I'm not sure if any of them will join. DK probably will. But I know Fatal and Mitch usually don't. But I guess it's worth a try.
We'll see.
Either way. I mean, it's if you want to do the interviews, because this is usually my time to pee break. Let's run through this order one more time. It's going to be Mitch Burns with his first win. Fatal in P2, DK P3, Vamu in P4. Motor somehow at the top 5 here tonight. Clay Funk in P6, Villeneuve in P7, Elite Game Boy P8. RJP with a P9, as P-Dog has accidentally left the party. RJP with P9, even though he did finish fourth on track? Yeah, third on track. Bodhad in P10, Electric P11, Gordito, Kano, Arkaka, Ray, Porridge, Racing Fan, VTech, not as fortunate.
Just sending out some invites now.
Scenes here this evening from Suzuka. Don't forget to follow Contest of Speed on all social platforms. And check out the new website, contestofspeed.com. Looking pretty good if you want to keep up with every tier's point standings and the power rankings and whatnot.
See if Fatal will get in here. Mitch Burns and DK.
For some reason, P-Dog keeps leaving the party whenever he invites people. One second. You are playing. Oh. Don't mind the blue screen here.
From the party, but we'll figure that out later. It doesn't seem like we're gonna have any takers.
Yeah, DK. I'll give him about 15 seconds to respond to this.
It was a great race tonight, regardless. A lot of strong showings, especially I think Fatal back on form a little bit. Had some pace. Seems to be back. Mitch with his first win. RJP up there. DK strong, especially to get the podium at the end.
Yeah, I think that was his first podium of the season.
I believe you're correct.
big points day. DK does say he can do one real fast if we're doing one.
I think that's up to you.
Yeah, let's just cut it there. I guess it's just gonna be DK. Fatal didn't respond, so yeah, that'll do it from Suzuka. Pretty interesting stuff. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. You know where we're gonna be next week, P-Dog?
I actually do not know.
We are going to be at the United States of America.
Oh, yes, we are. I remember now.
For the USGP, another wheel circuit. So expect another strong performance from your winner here tonight, Mitch Burns. Yeah, congrats to the winner. Congrats to Fatal and DK who made up the podium. Those are really good points days for all three of those guys. But yeah, until next time, next week, same time, same place. I'm kidding. That's P-Dog.
Yeah,
signing off for the week.
P-Dog.
Yeah, you're P-Dog. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. We'll talk to you guys later.